I was assistant coach on that team. It was my first year out of college, and I'd had a good college career, but I was fortunate enough to come. Leachville had a coach named Doy Pannell, and Doy Pannell was ahead of himself because he was the kind of guy that wanted to come up with different systems, different offense systems and things. Now, you kids play little enough today, and Matt knows that there's all kinds of formations and all kinds of systems. Back then, it was just kind of run and gun, roll the ball out and get after it. Well, he came along and he was very technical. And if you beat him one time, you wouldn't beat him the next time. He would find out a way to beat you. So he was one of the outstanding coaches, high school coaches in basketball in the state of Arkansas at that time. He left here after he won the state championship here in 1960, went to Paragould. 3 years later, he won the state tournament in Paragould. And Paragould was all football school. They weren't basketball at all. And he made a basketball school out of it. So that showed you he was a very good coach. I was fortunate to get to coach my first year under him because he was a sharp guy. He pursued the intellectual side of basketball, I guess.
And did you stick around and keep coaching here?
No, I didn't. What it was, I had a ROTC commission, second lieutenant commission in the Army, but I wanted to find out if I liked coaching before I went in. I didn't want to come back to Leachville and farm, my family farm, and I didn't think I'd want to farm. So I came back to Leachville, and I've got a deferment so that I could, you know. And the reason I was able to get a deferment, at that time, all the colleges and universities across the United States were turning out so many second lieutenants in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, all of them, that they just kind of flooded the military system with officers, young officers. And so they were beginning to say, hey, we're going to slow down. So I was able to get a deferment. So I coached for 2 years, and I thought I was going to be coaching for another year, but I wasn't. So I went to Monette before I got notified on commission, and I coached with Bob Wolf in Monette in 1960. And Bob Wolf was an old Arkansas Tech guy that he went into the service and came out, and so he was a few years older than me. But I went to Monette and coached some real good kids in that Monette area, but I got my call right around January the 1st of 1961. And so I reported to Fort Benning, where basic training was for the infantry. I was going through supply. I was getting all my clothes and stuff that I would be needing for the basic training. And an old sergeant came in and said, I see where you played basketball in Arkansas. And I said, yeah. We've got a good post team. We want you to come out for the post team. He saw my record, and I'd had a pretty good college record. And I said, oh yeah, because I'll tell you anything to break that basic training deal. So the first time we went out, I met the team, and on that team was a guy named Don Gallagher. In 1957, he was from North Carolina. He was an All-American at North Carolina. And in 1957, you don't know who Wilt Chamberlain is? Wilt Chamberlain was playing at University of Kansas. North Carolina beats Wilt Chamberlain in the finals, NCAA, in 1957. And this guy was All-American on the same first team with Wilt Chamberlain and some others. So that was quite an experience. He might have been one of the best basketball players I'd ever played with or seen. He was that good. And so I got to play a little basketball for Fort Benning, and we played in that was in the 3rd Army area, and we naturally went to the finals, and we played, but we got beat in the finals in 3 overtimes. And one of the reasons was we played against Fort Gordon, and boy, they really went out for it. They had some good college athletes on their team too, so it was a good experience.